We saw double equals, which is going to check for equality of value, but it ignores type. Triple equals cares both about value and type. So it's 3 equal signs in a row. And again, it cares about the type and value. It's not going to try and coerce the values to be of a common type. So if we have something like 2, triple equals the string 2, that's going to be false, versus double equals is true. We also saw an example where we had 0 double equals false. That is true. Triple equals is false. So it is stricter, hence the term or the name strict equality operator. All of those examples that we saw with double equals that were kind of wonky, like undefined double equals null, which is true. If we do it with triple equals, they are not the same type, so it doesn't matter. It's false. But if we do something that definitely is true, 3 equals 3, or null, triple equals null, that's true, and so on. So triple equals is more precise or more specific. It cares about type. And generally, that's what you want. If you were using double equals, you could get some weird behavior. If you're trying to check if a certain value is exactly false, and instead the value is 0, this could lead to some unexpected decisions or results. So generally, we stick to triple equals. It's more specific, it's more precise. Type usually matters. If we had some variable called isLoggedIn, and it's set to false, and we wanted to check is logged in equal to false, this works. Like, we want to make sure nobody is logged in. So we're checking is logged in set to false. But if somebody somehow set it to 0, for example, and we ran that line again, is logged in double equals false, it's still saying true, but it's not actually false. If we instead use triple equals, we avoid that entirely. So in general, 99.99999% of the time, what you want is triple equals. And in this course, we'll be using triple equals for everything. It's really rare that you need double equals. There are people who will say never ever use double equals. I think it's a good rule of thumb if you're brand new to JavaScript. I certainly haven't used it in the last year or so at least, but it is something you might see sometimes in certain edge cases and scenarios. I'm beating a dead horse here. So just remember, triple equals, not double. And let's wrap up here by talking about non-equality. So just like we have 2 ways of checking if something is equal to another thing, we have 2 ways of checking if 2 values are not equal. We have non-equality, just the plain old non-equality. This is the analog or the cousin of double equals. And then we have strict non-equality, which is the cousin of triple equals. So if we do something like 1 is not equal to 2, we get true. That makes sense. 1 is not 2. If we keep using the 1 equal sign version, we could also do this. 1 is not equal to 1, but that gives us false. Because we're using a single equal sign, which is like the double equals, it doesn't care about type. So we end up with false because they're converted to the same type, and it's essentially checking is 1 not equal to 1. And that's false. If we instead use this version, where we have 2 equal signs, we end up with 1 strict non-equality, string 1, and that is true. So for the same reason that I said you should always use triple equals, you should almost always use this version of non-equality, 2 equal signs. So we've now covered all of the comparison operators we need to talk about. We saw greater than, less than, and then also greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And then in terms of the equality operators, just go with the bottom 2 here. To check if things are equal, use triple equals. To check if things are not equal, use this version, where we have 1 exclamation point and 2 equal signs. Those 2, circle them, remember them, and ignore these 2. I need to show them to you, but ignore them.